You're welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be looking at VAT registration. When and where do you register for VAT? VAT registration. VAT registration is a process of getting eligible persons listed or recorded on the VAT registrar of URA. Getting eligible persons, people who qualify, listed on the registry of URA. That is what we call VAT registration. A person who is not already a registered person shall apply to be registered within 20 days of the end of any period of 3 calendar months if during the period the person made taxable supplies, the value of which, exclusive of any tax, exceeded quarter of the annual registration threshold. The annual registration threshold is 150 million and the quota of it is 37.5. So if a person made taxable supplies of the amount that exceeds 37.5 million in 3 months, they are required to register for VAT. Then let's look at VAT threshold. This refers to the minimum level of taxable turnover above which a person is obliged to register for VAT. Minimum level of taxable turnover above which a person is obliged to register for VAT. And the annual threshold is currently 150 million shillings. This may be determined on a quarterly basis. And the quarterly basis is 37.5 in any 3 consecutive months. So any person who makes 37.5 million and above within 3 months on taxable supply is required to pay VAT. This is the minimum level of taxable turnover, above which a person is obliged to register for VAT. That's what we call the VAT threshold. Then VAT turnover, it's the total taxable value of both goods and services, excluding VAT. The total taxable value of both goods and services, excluding VAT. That's what we call the turnover. Now let's look at the requirements for registration. What are the requirements for VAT registration? The requirements for VAT registration are, the first one is that the applicant must have a fixed place of the business. Then the applicant should be able to keep proper books of accounts. The applicant should be able to submit regular and reliable returns. The applicant should be a fit and proper person. The applicant must fill in an application form, a VAT application form. So those are the requirements. Fixed place of a business, able to keep proper books of accounts, able to submit regular and reliable returns about the business. Then the applicant must be fit and a proper person when they're not mad or something. Then the applicant must fill in an application form for VAT. Then let's look at the categories of VAT. Persons eligible or obliged to register for VAT. Which people are eligible or obliged to register for VAT? There are 2 main channels through which persons register for VAT, and mainly we have the compulsory channel and then the voluntary channel. The compulsory channel are known as obliged and the voluntary channel are known as eligible. So we shall start with compulsory registration. Compulsory registration, these are obliged to register for VAT, it's a must. A person who deals in taxable supply that meets the VAT threshold are obliged to register. If you're dealing in taxable supply and you make more than 37.5 million within 3 months, you're supposed to register for VAT. Persons who deal in taxable supply that meets the VAT threshold are obliged to register. And these must apply to register within 20 days after the period of the 3 consecutive months. If in that period their taxable supplies exceeded the quota of the annual threshold. So when you make more than 37.5 million within 3 months, then the month that follows those 3 months, you're supposed to register for VAT within that month, within 20 days of the next month. For example, if one's taxable sales in the month of January to March, those are 3 months, exceeds 37.5, that person must apply for registration in the first 20 days of April 2015. Yeah, so after the 3 months, in the next month, within the first 20 days of the month, you're supposed to register for VAT. That is what we call compulsory registration. Then we have what we call future test. Future test, alternatively, if a person expects to make taxable supplies of more than a quarter of the annual threshold, that person is required to apply for registration at the beginning of that period of the 3 consecutive calendar months. If you feel like in the coming 3 months you're going to make money that is more than 37.5 million, you are required to register for VAT at the beginning of the period of 3 months. And this is mainly common with contractual jobs whereby one is certain of what they are going to earn. That is what we call future test. You know what is going to happen in future, like you know what you're going to earn. Yeah. Then government institutions. Government ministries, town or city councils, district administrators should apply for registration on the date they start dealing in business activities. Yeah, they're supposed to register on that very day that they start dealing in business activities. And the business includes whole hire, tendering of parks, markets, street parking, toilet management services, street billboard adverts, and disposal of assets, among others. Yeah, so for government institutions, they're supposed to register for VAT on the day they start dealing in business activities. Yeah. Then let's look at the effective date of registration. Effective date of registration is the first day of the month following the month an application was made or was due, whichever is earlier. The first day of the month following the month an application was made. For example, if the due date to apply for registration fell in the month of April, the effective date of registration would be 1st May. The first day of the month following the month an application was made. According to the previous example, we made our registration in April. So after April, the first day of the next month is 1st May. So that is the effective date of registration. The first day of the month following the month an application was made or was due, whichever is earlier. So let's look, that was all about compulsory VAT registration or obliged. Yeah. So this is what they call voluntary registration. Voluntary registration is permissible under law if the person's taxable turnover is below the registration threshold. If the person makes taxable sales whose value is below 37.5 within 3 months, they can decide either to register or not. Yeah, so their registration is voluntary. Voluntary registration is permissible under law if the person's taxable turnover is below the registration threshold. One will, however, have to satisfy Uganda Revenue Authority that his or her activities constitute business for VAT purposes. Yeah, so that was all about the channels of registration, the compulsory and voluntary registration. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends, and watch my next video. We shall be continuing with VAT.